Hey everybody, so I'm gonna start off the video here because this is the very first place where I interacted with Lilac, and I'm sure it'd be the first place where everyone does. So, or most people do. So I went to Hugging Face and then their new spaces. I see this Lilac space. I open it up. This seems pretty cool on its face. I like analyze structure and clean data with AI. And then so I run through this UI a little bit. I spent, maybe like 15, 20 minutes playing around with this UI, look at the data sets, like look at this preloaded, etc., the OpenOrca data set, which I'm familiar with overall, but so play around with this model, look at the different, experiment with it around. I'm like, I don't understand full, so I understand what this does. Of course, it, just uh, makes your data more structured, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like that's something that's needed, but like it's like I don't know. I wanted to learn more about it, so I open up the documentation here. And then I look at, like introducing Lilac, and then I read the install guide, quick start guide. I'm like, okay, this is getting a little bit more interesting as to like what you can do. Let's start off with this form of concepts. And I'm like, what's a concept? Concept is the algorithmic version of a concept we have in our head applied to natural language. So in this instance, it's like positive sentiment analysis. So like positive or negative sentiment analysis. So I read through this and I go through, and then I'm like, okay. After I read through, then the next thing I want to do is like, uh, as my kind of like engineer brain works, I want to like engineer it out. I want to build it. I want to see what this looks like. So that's what I do here in my notebook. It's a lot of pip installs. So pip install transformers, really straightforward. And then pip installing this package, this Lilac package. This took a long time, and there's a lot of stuff in here. You can see it like it uninstalls Scikit, uninstalls Pandas, it reinstalls its own stuff. So it's doing a lot, like flat out. And then the next thing I needed to do was pip install this Lilac GTE, like this extension, which does like a lot more. It's gonna, unload and unpack a whole bunch more stuff. Then you get to the nitty gritty, which is right here. And then so this is what I've been playing around with for the last little bit. The code is really straightforward because of the libraries, because of the massive amount of code that you're importing before. But it's just importing the Lilac library and then utilizing a backend program called Signals, which is like this whole entire program is built on Signal. Giving it a namespace, the concept name, which is in this instance positive sentiment analysis, and then I'm choosing the embedding, which in this model I'm using their small model. So you have to use their preloaded models in this instance. And for now, they say in the documentation that will change, but so I'm assuming that they have like a small and a large. Maybe they have a medium. I don't know, but I'm sure they have at least a small and a large. I've only tested the small. Small seems to be fine for everything that I've tested it with so far. And then so you just give it essentially the analysis here, like what you want it to centimize. And so in this instance, I said the soup was very delicious and the bread was very moist. And then this produces a score of 9.1444. So a human readable score, it considers this good analysis. Like not it's not saying that this is great, it's saying that this is good. Like but it considers this good. And then so if I change this around and I said like the soup was very bland and the bread was very dry. And then this changes the score to a score of 0.03. And then so just knowing about this model and how sentiment analysis works, anything below 0.05 is very bad. Like anything below like 0.05 and worse is like awful. So this is giving it a awful score, like a negative score, negative sentiment because it's 0.03 below that 0.05 threshold. And then I said, what if I said the stairs were very clean and the living room was well organized. Again, a score of like a 9.15, like not off the charts awesome. So let's see, like let's try to give you like one that would be like, okay, that this is like off the charts. Was the best movie I have ever seen in the entire life. Interesting. So This one is throwing off the model in this particular instance. Like this is saying that that's a negative sentiment, that this was the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life. This particular model is rating it as negative sentiment. And then so this is a good place to introduce this within the video, within this video as well. So in building this out, I playing around the model, really simple to play around with the model and import it. But then you can do different things with these concepts. So I have my concept loaded here, and now I notice and I've figured out like, okay, I want to fix this within the data set. So with the code below here, I can load a concept, I can add a new example to the concept, I can remove an example from the concept, and I can delete the concept entirely. And then I could also further train with additional code this particular model on this concept. So I could train it and say that this is positive. And then include this in its data set. And then if I train it, run it through, next time it runs, it's going to pick this up as a positive sentiment rather than a negative. And then it's just really simple to train the model out that way. But this is really cool in my opinion, because it's like, I mean, it's 2 minutes of code, and then you've got your own sentiment analysis like right out of the box, and then it like that can be easily tuned out of the box, easily trained, whatever you want to do with it. And it takes about like 2 minutes to do. You can add this on to any sort of other like AI or any other sort of software that you have running in the background. So really cool library. I'm really looking forward to the Lilac library and expanding upon this more. Expanding upon more what you can do with like actually training data and what like kind of what the model was put out for on Hugging Face. But once I started digging into it more, I was like, whoa, this is more than just like labeling your data and converting it to JSON, which is really cool. And that's like there's a lot of utility to this platform overall, and then especially from a UI side, I'm not showing in this video like any of the UI side at all. Really, I'm showing it on the Python side because this is honestly just more comfortable to me playing around with it this way. But overall, I want to highlight and showcase this tool. It's got a lot of utility. It's got a lot of practical application, and I think people will be utilizing this more and more because it's got some built-in functionality out of the box. It's very nice if I want to structure data, or if I'm looking straight for what they consider a concept, which is like sentiment analysis, or it could be anything that's beyond sentiment analysis as well. It's just like that's the very first thing that their mind went to, and it's what my mind goes to immediately with it as well. But concept could be anything that's kind of like fuzzy. That would be not hard, like not necessarily easy to like program directly into a model. So if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe, and check out Lilac. Thank you very much.